I've spent a lot of time in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies recently, roaming around Urzikstan, as many of you will probably have seen, without any weapons. But I decided to go for a change of pace. Now, I'm one of those people who does very strange things, and isn't actually using any primary weapons in Call of Duty Zombies right now. But I opted to go out of my way and test all of the weapons that I thought could be quite good in Modern Warfare Zombies, so I could give that information to you. Now, whether you're going into tier 3 zones, or if you're somebody who is struggling generally speaking with boss battles or certain contracts, having a really good pack-a-punch weapon, or even just a default weapon that performs very well against zombies, is a huge thing to have and a big asset too. Some of these weapons I'm going to show you today can absolutely destroy even the most crazy bosses in Modern Warfare Zombies, including the Mega Abomination. And some of them are just really good generally for mowing down the hordes in the game. Now, it's worth mentioning, just as a general note for all of you, that the powerfulness of your weapons is based on 2/3 things. The first two are really essential, the third is a nice to have. Now, the first thing is the rarity of your gun. The rarer your weapon, the more the damage output. So whether that's green, blue, purple, or gold, the higher the tier the weapon, the more damage you can output. And this is why Aether tools in particular are very useful to be able to craft or find, because the higher the rarity, the better the output. And the next, of course, is how much you've pack-a-punched that weapon. The higher the tier your pack-a-punch, the more damage it will output. And if you're in tier 3 is incredible. If you're in a tier 2 zone, tier 2 should be effective. But generally speaking, if you have a high rarity weapon that's gold or purple, having a low pack-a-punch on it means that it will outperform certain weapons which aren't as rare. And the third thing is, of course, attachments. Now, there are two attachments that I think are really huge in zombies. The first is, of course, your magazine, because the higher your magazine count, when you hit a pack-a-punch machine, it often doubles or sometimes even triples. A great example of this is the 200 round mag on the Bruin LMG. If you have that attachment equipped, a single pack-a-punch will take it to a 400 round magazine. And the second I actually think is your laser. Now, aiming down sight quickly is also a fairly important factor in this game, but you can have ADS speed and better hipfire accuracy in a single laser, meaning that you'll be able to aim down sight faster and have to worry less about accurately getting headshots on zombies to land critical hits. So keep your rarity, your pack-a-punch amount, and the attachments you have equipped in mind when you take a weapon into zombies. The first weapon is without a doubt the crossbow, and this might sound really stupid, but this thing is ridiculous. The crossbow is effectively a guaranteed one-hit kill on the vast majority of tiers of zombies, and a single pack-a-punch on this weapon turns it into a 3-shot before you need to reload, with an extremely fast reload. Now, if you put the explosive tips or the thermite rounds into this thing, you are absolutely off to the races. The explosive tips are really powerful, but if you want to get really spicy with it, the thermite tips with Shatterblast ammunition modification gives you kind of the best of both worlds. Generally speaking though, this thing is obscene. At tier 2 pack-a-punch, you can take out Mega Abominations and tier 3 bosses pretty much by yourself. Now, the higher tier the gun is and the higher tier you get this crossbow, you get a couple of benefits. From tier 1 onwards, you should kill most zombies in most zones fairly simplistically. But if your tier of pack-a-punch matches the tier of the zone you're in, then you're guaranteed an insta-kill on hitting the shot. Now, if you're in a higher tier zone than the pack-a-punch, you won't kill the zombie instantly when you hit the shot on them, but the explosive secondary will take them out, and it will do AoE damage to everything else in the area and knock them over too. But effectively, you can get this really highly efficient crossbow with a single pack-a-punch. With 2 or 3, you can go even crazier with this thing, and it is without a doubt, in my opinion, the best weapon you can use right now. This next weapon is really unconventional, but I think it's really good, and that is the dual wield F-Tac Sieges. Now, if you get the dual wield F-Tac Siege, you can put a 72 round magazine and hip-fire lasers on the gun. And when you pack-a-punch this weapon once, you get 144 rounds per mag, with a total of 288 shots, with one of the fastest rate of fires in the game. Now, damage-wise, it is pretty good, and at close range, it will do extreme amounts of damage. But the really impressive part of this is that if you use the Brain Rot ammunition modification, Every 25th shot out of the 144 bullets per mag will end up turning an enemy, meaning that you will effectively have a brain rot machine inside the dual wield F-Tac sieges. There were times where I fired at a horde of zombies and sometimes had 3 or 4 zombies turn, ending up being pretty easy to deal with. And I really think this is a secretly powerful weapon that just hasn't been thought about. Brain rot applying to every 25th shot and being able to fire 25 bullets extremely quickly is a huge bonus. Make sure you use the correct barrels and lasers on this setup, because if you combine those together with those 72 round mags, you're going to get a really tight hip fire spread that will look after you at close ranges. There's no way I can talk about the best weapons in Modern Warfare Zombies without mentioning the RPG and the RGL. Now, both of these are really good for dispersing large crowds of zombies, and arguably the RGL is definitely better than the RPG, but they both are really solid options. If you pack-a-punch the RPG, you will get 3 shots before you need to reload, and the reload isn't super slow, which of course you can speed up if you want to with perks. Likewise, the RGL has 12 shots before you need to reload if you decide to pack-a-punch it, so I think it's a really solid piece of kit that you can use in either instance. So choosing one of these is a really solid option, but just be very wary that if you don't have a fast secondary weapon, you are going to be very slow when using either of these weapons. This final weapon sounds really stupid, but it is actually really good, and that is just simply a knife. Whether you're using the gutter knife or the karambit, these are both really solid options. With this weapon, the tier matches the overall damage output, so if you're in a tier 3 and you have a tier 3 knife, you're guaranteed a one-hit kill. If you're in tier 2 with a tier 2 knife, you're guaranteed a one-hit kill, so on and so forth. What makes this a really solid option is that it's a great secondary, because if you use this knife, you can outrun pretty much every opponent except for hellhounds, which is a really solid option, and it's how I've been getting around tier 3 zones without getting into trouble. I also simply couldn't mention this list without mentioning throwing knives. Now, whilst this isn't a primary weapon and you can't pack-a-punch it, throwing knives are a guaranteed one-shot kill to any unarmored zombie and a two-shot kill to any armored zombie. They're also a guaranteed one-shot kill to any hellhound. And this doesn't matter what tier you're in. In tier 3, which is what I've been doing, a single throwing knife can take out a tier 3 zombie. A single throwing knife can take out a tier 3 hellhound, and 2 throwing knives can take out any armored zombie, and you can get these off really easily. You can also collect them from the bodies that you use them on, and you can recharge them at any given ammo station. Whilst I don't have footage of this final weapon, I felt it was worth a mention just because my chat seemed to bring it up a lot. The P90. You can actually get a 400 round magazine on a pack-a-punched P90 in the game if you decide to use one of the higher tier magazines available as an attachment. Now, I personally haven't messed around with the P90, so I can't give you a full review of its capabilities, but a 400 round mag is a 400 round mag, and I think that's a very impressive stat to have for a weapon that is incredibly mobile. Having the pace and speed of an SMG and the sheer 400 roundness of a light machine gun in a single, compact and fast weapon is definitely a bonus. So folks, that is it for this initial list of weapons that you should try using in Modern Warfare Zombies, and I hope some of these are really beneficial. Now, if you end up finding anything that you think is really OP or something that's really good, please do let me know in the comment section below. I'd be really keen to try it out on stream and see if there's anything you guys have seen that would be really solid. So if you have any secret tips, drop them down in the comment section below and I will read them there. As always, folks, thank you for watching. Drop a like, drop a sub, and I'll see you in the next one.